you guys know you have a huge fan base in Brazil. So friends from my generation are going crazy that I'm coming here to interview you. It suggested many questions, by the way. But first off, maybe as a journalist, I shouldn't be asking you this, but you guys know that you don't need to do press, right? As soon as you say that you're doing a new tour, tickets will sell out in a couple of days. So why did you decide to do press and to talk to, the UK, the US, or even Brazil? What's your motivation these days?
Well, that's a good question. Usually when you announce a tour, the people that are organizing it want you to talk about it because they want to spread the word. So, and we're excited about doing it. So we're trying to be open-minded and easygoing. And if they request us to talk about why we're coming back, which is something a lot of people want to know, we're available. So it's fine.
You.
Yeah,
How about
after,
yourself, Alex?
not sort of being under the radar for almost 11 years now, it kind of makes sense. People are interested to know what's been going on, why we're doing it, getting it mentioned, all those reasons. And it's nice to engage because it's about the audience and the fans. They'd like to get some information, and it's a nice way to do it.
And I think Neil used to be more averse to promotion, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, he would do interviews, especially, he did press interviews. He didn't mind to do that, but it really depended on what he was going through, how busy he was, and of course, if he knew the writers or the interviewers, he was always quite keen to talk to them. But he would go through times, especially after the tragedies that struck him, he really did shy away from that.
And you guys haven't released a new record since 2012. Were you surprised at how fast your tour is selling? That the fans are still there?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah. Thank God.
We have the greatest fans in the world. Every band says that, but I think we actually do have the greatest fans in the world. And they're so loyal, and they have, send messages to us over the years through social media and whatnot. And always saying, if you and Alex want to come back and do something, we'll be there for you. So, of course, we were optimistic when we planned this tour, but they really did overwhelm us. We did not expect that reaction.
You guys, of course, have a DVD, if our younger audience doesn't even know what that is, called Russian Rio.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere. It could be Russian Buenos Aires, could be Russian London, Russian New York, Russian Toronto. Why Russian Rio?
I think that show was particularly memorable because of the fact that we were foolishly unaware of how much our music meant to the Brazilians.
Yeah.
And when we played our songs and saw the reaction that we were getting, not just that they were happy, but they were singing with us. They had written their own parts for our songs.
For YYZ doesn't even have lyrics, and they were...
That was crazy. It was in the studio during the mixing of that.
Yeah.
We pulled the faders down of the band and just left the faders up of the audience.
Yeah.
All jumping up and down for like the whole 4 or 5 minutes. It was amazing. You mentioned all these other cities. This could have been a DVD from here, there. No, that's only Rio. Nothing like it. That audience was unbelievable.
Well, we were completely ignorant of our South American following, and that's why we never came to South America for many years. Really, not until 2002.
Just now I was checking out the main Rush fan website in Brazil, and they have one section there called cover bands, and there are 14 only on that website. So one of them is from Salvador in the state of Bahia, which is probably the capital of samba. Now that brings me to the Annika issue. Only in Brazil, and in one website, I saw 14 Rush cover bands. In Toronto, there might be 1,400 Rush cover bands. So it would be, quote unquote, easy to pick a drummer, let's say, from one of those bands who knows absolutely everything, or someone else, maybe Portnoy, who's also, you know, in your down your area of music. So why take the bold step of getting a drummer from outside this realm, and a drummer that comes from actually a different style of music?
Well, there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I think Alex and I wanted to stay away from the obvious comparisons. You know, when you are working with a drummer from this famous band or that famous band, it's just too easy to make comments. You know what the internet's like, you know what fans could be like, arguments. So I think what appealed to us about Annika, first of all, we were so thrilled to see how well she plays and her technical ability. And it never really occurred to us that she came from a different genre of music, you know. So I think we wanted somebody fresh, someone that had a story, someone that whose story would be welcomed by our fans. And I think Annika fits that bill completely.
That's something you guys had in mind even before you came across Annika's name. If Rush ever goes back, we need a drummer that is non-obvious.
We never really talked about that because that was never really a concern or an issue. I mean, as far as I was concerned personally, I went back and forth on the idea of going back on the road. You know, I did other projects and I kept pretty busy. And I just didn't know if I wanted to, you know, go through the whole thing of touring and being on the road. But Getty and I got together and we started playing some stuff, and invariably we started playing some Rush songs, and we really had fun, and we realized how much we love playing. I mean, we're very, very good friends. Everybody knows that. Yeah. We've been friends for a long time. But we've been songwriters.
For how long?
Oh my God, 60 years, I guess.
I have friends like that I've known since they were 6 years old.
Don't say that out
Yeah,
loud.
I know, that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's
60
6
days.
years.
I've known him for a few months
6
now.
years I've known him. Woo, so long. But we were just having so much fun playing the songs. And after not having played them for a while, they were challenging to play. So that made it even more fun. And then we started talking about, you know, what about the idea of maybe sharing this? And the more we talked about it, the more interesting that idea sounded, and it kind of took on a life of its own. And now here we are with a full-fledged tour.
Well, I mean, the short answer, which Alex didn't really answer, is that the reason we never discussed what style of drummer we want.
Oh yeah, that was the question.
That was the
You're
question
right.
was because we had no plans to come back on the road.
All right.
And when suddenly the story that he just told happened, we said, okay, now we need a drummer. Do you know any?
I actually saw an interview you gave to The Guardian in the UK like 3 years ago, and you already mentioned Annika's name.
That's right, because my bass tech, Scully, had been on tour with Jeff Beck. And he came home raving about her. And it was a name that I did some research into her then. Yeah. But it wasn't really for a Rush tour because there was no Rush tour.
In terms of drum, I'm sorry.
I just thought that that's someone to remember for whatever reason. Maybe I'll do a solo project, something like that. Right. So hers was the first name I suggested down.
I was talking to a friend of mine who is a journalist friend of mine who's also a drummer, and he asked me to ask you guys about Annika's drum set, because she used to use a really small one, and Neil's was like 3 times as big. Has he changed?
It's changing.
It's growing. It is growing
too.
She needed to change it.
Yeah.
And she learned that pretty quickly after our first jam session.
Yeah.
And we were standing around the drums. You're going to need a few more of these things.
Alex, in one of the interviews you guys have given recently, you said that when you started playing Rush songs, you had a hard time in the beginning because they're difficult because you made them difficult. You guys made them difficult. So could you develop a little bit on that, on your writing process, and why make things difficult?
Uh, I don't know if we purposely made them difficult in the beginning. We would start writing a song, and I know that I would construct my parts in a way that I could remember them and play them. What would often happen is that we would write the song, and we'd have an idea of the arrangement, and then this guy would say, "Why don't we just drop this note here, put one more in there, and maybe down the road, maybe drop 2 notes there,
Yeah, do
and
a little
also change the
counterpoint."
timing." Like, okay, so.
So you were the one
He's
complicating
blaming me
things.
for it.
Yeah, but no, Get always had these great ideas of just twisting the songs and making them, truly our own original songs. And we were always up for the challenge. We always wanted to be better players, and we always wanted to make things harder so we could achieve, that level of play.
Yeah, and we were always interested in playing in odd time signatures because the bands we loved, like Genesis, Yes, all the old prog bands, they all played in odd time signatures. And I remember when Neil joined the band, his very, very first audition with us, we played this one part in 7/8 that, our previous drummer, John Rutsey, had no interest to play that.
Right.
And so Neil did it so well, and we had so much fun. I think it set us down this road of knowing that whenever a song was becoming a bit too predictable, let's throw something in.
All right. And I've talking about throwing things in one of your recent interviews as well. You said that you are writing lyrics.
No, the story I was telling that journalist was not really related to Rush. I was at the beginning of this year, before Alex and I decided to go down this road, I was hungry to play again. I just finished my 3rd book, and I really enjoy writing books, but I was missing being a musician. I was missing playing. And I still had all these ideas in my brain, lyrical ideas, and it became a very good habit for me when I was working on these books, when I get some thought or concept that I'm wrestling with, just to write it down. So I created a bunch of poems.
Yeah.
You could call them songs. If you put music to it, they would become songs, but they were poems. And I was working on my playing, and that's when Al and I first started to jam together. And I didn't know whether that music would those lyrics would ever be used.
Yeah.
But I did it for the pleasure of doing them.
That's something that's interesting because Neil was the main lyrics writer. If you guys do release a new record using your lyrics, how would your lyrics differ from the ones you did for Rush's first record?
Well, that's...
How have you evolved as a lyrics writer?
Wait a second. How long ago was 1973 when I wrote most of those lyrics? Let's see. That was just a few years ago. I think I'm a little different person now, so I'm sure they would be quite different.
In what sense?
Well, the things I think about, I like to think that I've grown experienced and gathered some wisdom and have some viewpoints on the world that I could not have possibly had when I was 20 years old. So, I think about a lot of different things, and I write those things down. And writing them down helps me understand them.
Thanks. Alex, you mentioned also in interviews that when you guys started playing Rush songs, you were still kind of rusty. How have things evolved since that time?
He's still rusty.
Yeah, forever rusty. So, they're hard songs to play. I don't think we realized how hard they are to play or how complicated and challenging our music is. When you do it every day for 40 years, basically, it's second nature. You just do it. You don't think about it. But not playing those songs for quite a while, it was challenging just to break them down, and you waited for muscle memory to take over.
Yeah.
Because often you'd start and you're in the wrong position and you can play it, but it doesn't feel right. And then after a little while, suddenly your hand goes to the right spot, without thinking about it. You pray for that to happen. Once that happens, the whole process becomes smoother. And I think now we're at a stage after almost a year of rehearsing on and off, that everything's starting to settle. Our fingers are feeling tour condition. It's exciting playing with Annika, who spends all this time, learning the songs.
Yeah.
Just to hear another drummer play that music. And we're getting tighter and tighter with every passing day that we rehearse. So it's really exciting to see the progress and the improvement in all things in the music.
He's playing great, by the way.
He is? All right.
Yeah.
But
Finally.
rusty
I
still.
like to embarrass him in front of people.
And he's
But he
so
is
good
playing
at
great.
it.
And you guys said that you have a 40 song list to choose from during the tour, right?
We
It might get bigger.
We keep wanting to add. And last time when recently we saw Annika in Germany, and we said, well, I was thinking of one more song than that. And she just said, no.
Yeah.
Think about it. For us, we're trying to remember these songs.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
She never knew most
yeah.
of those songs, never played
learning,
any of those songs. So this is a real task for her.
So you guys are still at 40 songs.
40-ish.
And I'd like to clarify something that I didn't quite understand. You guys will do 2 sets a night. Is that
Yeah.
correct? But what exactly does that mean? You do one show, the audience leaves, other people come in, and you do another show? No, just one show with 2 sets and an intermission.
2 sets per night.
We'll play for about an hour, and then we'll take a break because we need a break, and then we'll come back and play for an hour, hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
All the same audience.
All right. And of course, you said, I'm not sure if you can give us any details on that, but there will be moments when you will pay tribute to Neil. How will that be? Can you give me a little hint?
Well, we've been talking about certain songs that we feel really give us the vision of Neil. And we'll pick those songs in each set of the 2 sets. So twice a night, we will pick a song to play sort of for him, and we'll present a visual tribute behind us to Neil, whether it be to his lyrics or just to his playing or whatever. Take a moment, play these songs with him in mind so the whole audience and us can remember him.
A celebration of who he was.
Yeah.
As a person and a drummer. Not so sad anymore.
Yeah.
Now we come to those questions that you've already answered 1,000 times, but I'm trying to get the timeline right. You said in interviews you guys were somewhere in Europe, a health facility in Europe, and there was also the Taylor Hawkins tribute gig. Which one came first? How did things progress?
Well, first was the Taylor gigs.
Yeah, all right.
2022. right?
2022, yeah. Before 2022, we had not talked about playing together. Al was doing his own thing musically, and I was working on my books. And sadly, we heard the news that Taylor had passed away. And very quickly after that, I got a call from Dave Grohl saying that he was going to put these 2 shows on, and would we be part of it? Of course we said yes, immediately, even though we had no idea how we were going to do it. But he was way ahead of us, like he had already thought about potential drummers. And first thing he said is, you can't play with one drummer, because if you play with just one drummer, everyone's going to say, that's the new Rush. I said, okay, that's fine. We'll play with more than one drummer, but you have to be one of them.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, just the easy stuff, though. I said, there is no easy stuff. And he's being modest because he could play
He's
any of
great.
those fucking songs, honestly.
Extraordinary drummer.
He's so good. But anyway, that came first. And after those shows, we were elated, excited. We had, in a way, remembered, during those sad years before that, Rush music, we sort of put it in a box and forgot about it. And this was like permission to open that box up again and to celebrate those songs. And we remembered how much we liked them. So we talked about maybe touring, but Al wasn't ready for it, so it all just went away. And it wasn't really until late in 2024 when Alex was describing, we were jamming. When we started jamming, the idea came back. But Al's had some trouble with his health. And so in early 2025, we went to this clinic, this health clinic. And it was amazing. Why don't you take it from
Life
there?
changing.
And you went with him.
I went with him.
Yeah.
As
Just
moral
a
support.
companion?
I went specifically for my issues, which are digestive tract issues. I had had some surgeries, and it was very difficult. I was not feeling well at all. Had terrible nausea for a year. And, so I found this place. It was recommended to me by a friend who also came along as moral support. Getty had some work on his knee, and so he thought, well, I'll come along and get some physio and enjoy the experience and trim down, because it's really quite a strict diet that you're on, but the food is very, very nutritional, and the whole place is amazing. And for me, it turned my life around. I feel so much better than I have probably in 20 years. So that was really a big part of me making this decision, because once I started to feel as well as I did, I could see being on a stage and jumping around and doing all of those things.
Yeah. And when was that, Alex, that you went
The
to
first
clinic?
time was in January of 2025.
Oh, that's very
And then we
recent.
went again this past
Yeah,
January.
we really didn't. I mean, the decision to go back on the road came in very slow steps. You know, after this experience and Al was feeling good, then he was willing to talk about maybe we can tour. And that's when we said, oh, we have one thing that we really need, and that's a drummer. And so that's when the Annika conversation started.
Yeah. And it always struck me, I mean, how do you reconcile being such perfectionists with playing live? Because, you know, playing live, as much as you are well rehearsed, mistakes always happen.
Yeah.
How do you take them, being such perfectionists?
Well, you get pissed off with yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to try harder.
Yeah.
And Neil used to say this, and I think he was 100% right. One of the beauty of doing 2 shows a night, like 2 sets a night, is that if you fuck up the first one, you have redemption waiting for you in the second.
Yeah.
So that's really true. You just push yourself. And every night we're looking for the perfect show. And once in a rare while, you'll get a close to perfect show.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about yourself?
Well, that's exactly, I totally agree with that. I think you set a high standard for yourself. You want to be the best you can be, really, at anything that you do. But particularly on a stage playing your own music that you've crafted, you want to be able to represent that music as faithfully as you can. And it becomes a very personal goal to do that. Also, like I said, very few nights are those kind of nights where you come off stage and feel like you've come as close as you can to having a perfect night. And there are some nights where we don't play very well, and people say, that was the most amazing show I've ever seen. So, you know, music on a stage goes by very, very quickly. And there are so many notes that we play. You know, you can get
If you screw up one.
no one's going to remember.
You want the passing notes to pass a little more quickly on those nights.
Yeah.
And in terms of rehearsals, how often are you guys rehearsing these days?
Well, we're playing pretty much every day.
Every
now.
day.
We don't play together every day,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I
we're
do. I
playing-
play every day. Yeah.
yeah.
Has Annika moved to Toronto?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
She's still in
Yeah.
Germany.
But we've had, I think, 4 or 5 rehearsals with her. They're very intense, but each one is super fun, super hard work, but really interesting. You know, teaching this person how to get inside a Rush song. It forces you to re-examine the song and how you wrote it and how you play it. And but she's really starting to build confidence now. Some of those songs that we played with her the very first time, to hear her play them now is amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun.
I asked this friend of mine who's a journalist slash drummer what Rush songs he thinks are the most difficult for a drummer. And he mentioned Tom Sawyer,
Yep.
YYZ, and Villa del Straniato.
Oh, never heard of them.
Do you agree with that?
I would agree. And Neil would have agreed with that as well. Tom Sawyer was probably the most difficult song for him to play perfectly.
It was the first one you played with Annika, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was the first one? All right.
It was before we played Tom Sawyer with her for the first time. She had to take a breath,
All right.
and she was like, "I'm really nervous to play this one."
Yeah.
And she did just fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
About the name Rush. How did you guys manage to keep the name Rush, even with Neil absent? I mean, who owns the brand if there is such a
Oh,
thing?
we share the brand.
Yeah.
share the brand.
We've been
so-
Rush since 1968.
But
so-
was there any discussion between you guys?
Yeah, of
Should we
course.
keep the name or not?
Of course.
Yeah.
There was a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
At one point, we were coming up with all these ways of not calling it Rush. And then it seemed ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because when you're learning 40 Rush songs, what the hell are you supposed to call this thing you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. We'll go out, we'll play 40 Rush songs, but we'll call it Iron Butterfly. It just was the natural thing to do.
And now you also will not have to do all the keyboard work yourself, but sometimes you will actually play the
Oh, yeah.
keyboards. When will you know, well, that's a Geddes keyboard moment?
We're working on that with Lauren right now. For me, it's those signature songs like Tom Sawyer and Subdivisions and Red Sector A, if we play that song. Those are songs that are sort of identifiable with me.
Yeah.
And so I will keep playing those songs. But also, those songs, Lauren now will add some depth to it by adding his own keyboard parts here and there. So we're going through every song and deciding, okay, I'll play this part, you play that part.
Yeah.
And it's really fun, actually. And he's such a great player that he's adding another dimension to our music.
Guys, I have, as you can see, I've been around for a while, and I've interviewed all kinds of rock bands and many bands, super famous bands. And I've noticed if you want to be totally disillusioned with rock and roll, just go backstage with some bands. I will see they don't even talk to each other. They have different managements. The interviews have to be done in separate rooms, things like that. But you guys have managed to be friends for a long time. But how do you manage to keep the friendship going for so long, fresh and alive, and being still close?
We laugh a lot. We love each other. We have common interests, and we have a great job.
That's right. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah, now go. Could you develop a little bit on that, Geddy?
You know, how do you explain a friendship? When I met this gentleman in junior high school, I sat beside him in school, and we laughed. He made me laugh. I think I made him laugh. And so we became school pals. And then we started playing music together, and we became music pals. So we were already pals, and we became music pals. We just can't get away from each other. We enjoy each other's company. Over the years where Rush was completely inactive, it's been over a decade now, I still see him, you know, every week, every 2 weeks. We have this deal, you know, we go out to dinner, I bring the wine and he pays for dinner. So it's a good arrangement.
Well, sort of a good arrangement. I don't know.
And both of you still live here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live, you know, very close to each other.
As we always have. We've always lived close to each other.
We spent our childhood here, of course, and a common theme when we were kids was, what's the Canadian identity? Canadians were desperate to find their own identity.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's our identity.
Try to find it.
You know, stop looking so hard. We are who we are, and anyone who comes here can see what Canadians are all about.
All right. Last question. I have a 11-year-old nephew who's a drummer in a band. And they're all learning. They're all 11-year-olds. But what piece of advice would you guys give to 11-year-old who's starting a rock band?
Take up the bass guitar because there's only 4 strings. It's much easier than playing drums.
Dentistry is interesting.
No,
No, seriously, Alex, anything that
Work
might come to
hard.
mind?
Work
Work
hard,
hard.
persevere. If you have a passion and you really love it, just keep playing. That's really what it's all about. It's not about, all of these other things. They come eventually if you're lucky and you work hard, but it's all about satisfying, your soul, your musical heart. I think that's the important thing.
learn how to say no.
Yeah.
All right. Now is the real last question, which is also a cliche. A message to your Brazilian fans who are eagerly awaiting the Rush comeback.
Thank you for still being there.
Yeah.
Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for supporting Rush all these years. And now that Alex and I have decided to go back to work, you've been so welcoming, and that means everything.
Thank you for being some of the most amazing fans in the world. There's something about the appreciation Brazilians have for music, all kinds of music. You can be a metal fan, you could be a rap fan, you could be a samba fan. Across the board, you love it all, and it all speaks. There's something about Brazilians that it's a natural part of their makeup, that they just love music of every kind, and they show their appreciation. So we're really looking forward to playing for them again.
All right. Guys, thanks so much. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
coming
coming
all
by,
this way.
taking the
Obrigado.
time. And I hope you have fun in Brazil next year.
Yeah,
We
thank
will.
you. We will.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Mr. Lee.
Thanks so much.
Mr. Lifeson, thank you. Thanks a lot.